Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there. Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a flying mullet. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Electric Mullet. I am Phil, and joining me, as always, it is Superman's #1 fan.
Hey, guys. It's Tyler coming at you from my secondary computer because I had to grab the laptop as the other computer froze, so I apologize for any inconsistencies in quality of recording.
The video, I mean, that's not even a bad angle, though, either. I mean, I know you don't get as much stuff in the background, but I don't know. That's not even a... That's
Good.
Great.
Good. Like I said, like it just, I turned it on and just completely froze on me. So...
He's photogenic, kids. All right, so yes, tonight we only have two issues, Superman 43 and Adventures of Superman 466, featuring the first full appearance of someone who will see a lot in the coming years.
You think?
Yes, oh, I know. All right, let's jump into these.
Which one you want to do first?
Superman 43 came first, so yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, ever since I got the intelligence to, as we do these books, to make sure that I use my iPad and I download them to the iPad, has made it so much easier.
I'm sure.
All right.
Oh, I miss those days. Think of that issue. Still only 75 cents. If only.
I mean, I remember not too long ago when it was drawing the line at $2.99, and you were like, "Yeah." And then now we're like,
only one man does that anymore. Todd McFarlane. All those Spawn books are still only $2.99. Me and Lil want to know what kind of dark magic he's using.
It's his company, and he does all the work.
Oh yeah, I mean he does
like,
people, but yeah.
He gets a lot of interns like, "Hey, come work for me cheap, and you'll make a name for yourself." And they're like, "Yeah, Todd McFarlane." They're like, "Yeah, I work for Todd McFarlane on his book. I draw Spawn."
All right, so Superman.
You know what they do with fans? Getting that exposure.
Oh yeah. All right, so Superman Volume 2, number 43 from May 1990, The Evil Factory. Writer and penciler Jerry Ordway, inker Dennis Jank, colorist Glenn Whitmore, letterer John Costanza, and editors Mike Carlin and Jonathan Peterson. Superman, now returned to his normal self, helps restore the Statue of Liberty. Meanwhile, in the Evil Factory, Mokkari and Simyan breed a green-skinned Superman clone thanks to the samples they got from his battle against the Four-Armed Terror. While they teleported away from the factory, their sensor alarms detect a Cadmus airship piloted by the Guardian and Jimmy Olsen, coming to rescue Jimmy's mother. The Evil Factory releases the Lake Trevor monster to deal with the trespassers. In Metropolis, Jose Delgado, now evicted from his apartment, receives a letter with a job offer to work as a bodyguard. Clark Kent returns to the Daily Planet as a freelance writer, but Lois receives him with a cold shoulder. Clark explains he wasn't himself lately, and literally, and asks Lois to not turn him away as he did to her. Lois accepts the apology and hugs her friend. The people on the streets see the green Superman clone on the roof of the Daily Planet. Kal-El doesn't take long to confront this clone. The clone presents himself as number 2 and explains they sent him to learn about Superman and kill him. Superman flies off, and the clone chases his target through Metropolis. Back in the Evil Factory, the Guardian and Jimmy force the giant creature to retreat. The scientists release more beasts and decide to retrieve Superman's clone to deal with the trespassers. Number 2 senses is being pulled back, but he clings to Superman, teleporting both Supermen to the Evil Factory. But number 2's atoms get dissolved. Superman helps the Guardian and Jimmy deal with the remaining beasts while the evil factory starts to collapse. Sarah Olsen is free from her containing chamber, and using one of their guns, she sends both scientists to the same colorless dimension they send their previous failures. Jimmy saves his mother just in time before the factory blows up. She explains she found Jake, Jimmy's father, in London, but it was just a clone, and that's when they kidnapped her. Superman finds some samples of kryptonite among the rubble of the factory, but these rocks have no effect on him. All right. Thoughts?
I thought this was a lot for one issue.
Yeah, well, it was a 1990 book.
But I really liked this concept of like the evil factory. I think it could be tweaked. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But just this concept is neat. Now, I do have to laugh to myself. Like, Superman finds himself back to how he was before. I have to laugh to myself just because, like, I do my reading over for Krypton Report too and stuff. And just how many times this kind of concept has come up recently. It's like, and Superman's back to his old self. And Superman, and you're just like, gosh, how many times are we dealing with like this concept of Superman's back? Superman's back.
I mean, it also reminded me of the end of like Superman 3 when he had to put back everything, all the damage he did when he,
Yeah, and you're just like, after a while, you're just like, okay, we got it. Superman's back, yay.
I know.
But the stuff with Jimmy and his dad and his past, like, I don't need Jimmy's dad to be Nick Fury. Okay?
Yeah.
I really don't. Jimmy's parents are just Jimmy's parents. Like, and I mean, that's something that's kind of lingers through all these books right now here is the Jimmy Olsen of it all.
Yeah, it seems like Jerry Ordway really likes that concept for some reason. So
now Clark being back at the Daily Planet, I like because, like I said, we first started this. I'm like, Clark, you have to realize that if you're going to be Superman, your professional life is such a balance that you need to make sure that you're thinking as Superman first and as your professional job second. So him being this editor that has to stay in the office was just, going to be a bad choice.
And again, a lot of that was the Eradicator, so.
True. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, you need that job. That's why when he becomes the foreign correspondent, I'm like, yeah, totally the best for you, buddy.
Yeah, and again, I think there was a lot packed into this issue, but I think that a lot of that is because I think we're going to, like, hold off on some of the Jimmy stuff for a while, so.
They're like, guys, people aren't buying the book, and what I've read is they're like, why do you keep talking about Jimmy?
Well, just the Jimmy attitude, even this issue still, he was just like, shit, butt out. Telling Superman, butt out. Me and the Guardian have it.
Yeah, that's right, Jimmy, because we all know that you're an awesome fighter. James Olsen, professional fighter.
I know. I was like, when he was like ducking in there and like pulling his mom out, and he's blasting like that one monster, and then he's going in and grabbing it. I'm like, really? I'm like, I mean, I don't want to say Jimmy's completely useless, but I mean, this is like, superhero stuff. Should have like the Guardian like diving in there and doing stuff more.
But the Kryptonite, like, I like the idea of a person that's like this Kryptonite man or whatever, but I don't like the idea of it being another clone of Superman.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I think, there was like a Silver Age one. I don't know if this was like their first attempt to do a Kryptonite Man, but I'm trying to remember if they bring this one back. But yeah, if so, it's not a lot. So, but yeah. I mean, that whole thing was really weird. Although there was that one when he's standing on the roof of the planet, it's almost like when Superman came back from space and he's standing on the roof of the planet.
Yeah, I just think there was more that could be done. So, but I like the idea of a person having like the kryptonite inside them, like in their DNA. I think it makes a much better adversary. Yeah,
like Metallo. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the payoff. I'm trying to remember the payoff of there's kryptonite rocks at the end, but they weren't affecting Superman. If we had any,
but just like we see when we see clones, it's always like, oh, Bizarro or something like that, or Superboy or something. And just this idea that let's change it up and make it like a person, like just a person who's made with kryptonite in their DNA compared to like Metallo, who you could, like we've seen how many times, throw a metal plate over it and block it out of lead, but someone who like their body is kryptonite, their very being. So,
and I mean, and this guy and the clone wasn't really evil. I mean, it was basically pretty much like a newborn, and then at the end, come through that teleportation thing. Only one of them could survive, and he pushes Superman out, and basically looks like he sacrifices himself. Yeah, but he goes to that black and white dimension.
But then we get, the caveman and Jimmy and Jimmy's mom versus the two little people, and I'm just like, okay, now this has just gone off the rails.
Oh yeah, because of the way with perspectives and stuff, you couldn't tell how small those two were until Jimmy's mom looks like a giant compared to the two of them.
Yeah, and it's like I don't mind sci-fi. I love sci-fi, but then there's a point where you're just like, now it's just getting kind of ridiculous. And I feel like this is where that book was going, because I like having the sci-fi blended with the reality. But
yeah, like I said, I think we were kind of wrapping Jimmy's stuff up here. That's why we're trying to do a lot here.
But
because again, I think Ordway loved the Jimmy stuff, but yeah, it's pretty much winding down for a while here.
But yeah, I mean, this, like, I don't really care for the Guardian and Jimmy stuff as much. Like, I like them interacting with Superman, but I don't really care for them. So
yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Guardian, but yeah, like as we said in previous episodes, the last few months, Jimmy's just been unbearable.
Everything's Superman's fault. So, but yeah, this one I was just like, okay. It started strong, and I was intrigued, and then it got to a point I was like, okay, what just happened?
I mean, I almost wish they would have said something like, since the Eradicator was, responsible for Jimmy's transformation, that if they would have been like, oh yeah, the Eradicator was affecting Jimmy's mind too. That's why he's been such a dick for the last couple months.
Totally take it. Totally, I would accept it.
I wish.
I would have been like, okay, I'm in. Like, I'll be like, fine. I'll believe it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's one of those, like, you give me a story, but then you make it make sense within the context of the framework of the world that you've created. All right, but once again, nothing. So,
and the Lock Trevor, or the Lock Trevor monster.
Dear Lord,
I know.
Like, there's just some stuff where you're just like, come on, man. Like, can we get back to Metropolis?
Yeah. All right. Should we get to the next one? Because again, the next one's a big one in Superman history here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Had you read this one before?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay. All right. So yes. So
because I kept thinking, like, have I read this one? But then I remembered it just reminds me a lot of that episode of Batman and Beyond.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I'm sure they've recounted some of this stuff in this issue numerous times in numerous places. So, all right, so Adventures of Superman 466 from May 1990, The Limits of Power. Writer and penciler Dan Jurgens, inker Dick Giordano, colorist Glenn Whitmore, letterer Albert de Guzman, and editors Mike Carlin and Jonathan Peterson. Following their exposure to cosmic radiation in space, the crew of the space shuttle Excalibur crash lands on Earth. Out of the wreckage, the crew members find out that their bodies were affected by the radiation. In the case of Steven, his body's made out of cosmic radiation, and Jim turns into a mass of rock, gravel, and wreckage of the ship. Feeling constant pain and being unable to speak, with Hank Henshaw and his wife Terry seemingly unaffected, the team decides to travel to Metropolis and use LexCorp's facilities to treat their conditions. In Metropolis, Lois invites Clark to have dinner at her apartment. The evening is suddenly interrupted by the reports of 4 radioactive paranormals invading LexCorp. Lois goes with Perry to the scene of the events, leaving Clark in her apartment to take care of the dinner. since he's just a freelance writer now. But Clark turns the stove off, changes to his Superman suit, and flies to the scene. The battle at LexCorp escalates quickly, with both sides accidentally hitting Superman. Steven goes completely berserk, but Superman uses Luthor's battle suits to contain the radioactive being. Before the battle could continue, Hank explains the situation to Superman, who agrees to help them. The crew gets inside the facilities and starts looking for a cure, but Hank's body is rapidly decaying. While Terry fades out to another dimension, Steve breaks free from the containment suit and flies straight to the sun. Superman tries to stop him, but Steve is faster than him. Back in the lab, Hank dies, seconds after Superman's return. Superman uses a radiation chamber to return Terry to her normal state, but Jim commits suicide by entering a magnetic resonance imager. With Terry now alone and in shock, Superman takes her to the hospital. Clark returns to Lois's apartment just before her return. Clark tells her that he wants to move forward with their relationship and kisses her on the doorstep.
Yeah, he did.
And that's not a metaphor, kids. They were actually standing on the doorstep. All right. All right. Thoughts, Tyler?
I mean, I love the relationship of where we are with Superman, or say Lois and Clark here.
Yes, it all starts here. Yes.
Because I feel like that's just something like we needed to get back to. The Fantastic Four here was pretty crazy. I had forgotten how much with the Henshaws they had done, but I do like it because it does plant the character seed, and everything. So for later when we get,
Hank will be back in 468. Don't you worry.
I'm just like, it's just crazy, so yeah, I enjoy what they were doing here, but I found some of it kind of weird. Of just like, how did they not get sued for this?
Oh, I mean, Marvel and DC used to do stuff like this all the time. Just, doing that weird, like little stuff like this. Like Marvel would have their Squadron Supreme, which was basically their version of the Justice League, so the Avengers could battle the Justice League and stuff. They used to do cute little stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, and again, it's not like they were spinning their own book out of it. They weren't getting their own monthly book out of this thing.
But yeah, I really liked just the Clark and Lois stuff. There's one panel where Perry's wife looks like a man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When she gets all angry with Clark, and yep. I mean, I get like Clark was being like a rude little jerk, while under the influence of the Eradicator. But I'm like, how can you get mad at this guy? I mean, he was, as far as he was trying to advance his career. I get Perry helped him, get into the world of journalism and stuff, but you really expected it, if he didn't want to stay there the rest of his life, you can't get mad at the guy for, thinking about his career and stuff.
She was just hurt because, like you said, like,
I mean, even if she had said, "Oh, the way you left" or something, yeah, I could see that, or the things you said, or I could see that, but just the act of him leaving, I'm like, yeah, but
so,
yeah, and I really like the art of Dan Jurgens in this issue, especially him taking off from like Lois's apartment and stuff.
We get where is it? Him taking off, and then where is that panel? What's his face? The story of him as a bodyguard.
Oh, Jose, yeah, because Cat Grant's ex-husband has hired him to bodyguard Cat, and then her son Adam, because the Morgan Edge trial is going to start here soon. So
I'm telling you, okay, I know I complain about this all the time. I'm going to complain about it one more time. Is many of these stories I've been reading and bouncing between what you've been doing and what we've been doing on Krypton Report and everything, having the inconsistency of like hair color is a nightmare.
Yeah,
because you have Lois, Lucy, Kat, and then Lana, and they'll just randomly throw in their hair, and I'm like, I don't know what character I'm looking at. Like I'm like, because if I don't have the context of the bubbles, like 1 minute I'm looking at a blonde, and then the next minute it's it's Lois. Oh, okay. And then it's Lana, and then it's somebody else, and I'm just like, I don't comfortably know what's going on. So it's something that I find very annoying, and I'm just saying this out. I don't like it because it makes it hard to fully enjoy the story when I can't read a Superman book then without really reminding myself, where am I in like context? Like,
yeah.
And it's something that just in story can be annoying. Trying to keep up with continuity is one thing, but then like trying to remember, oh wait, this is a person. I don't even remember what person this is because of everything.
Yeah, I mean, and again, in this era, I mean, between different people on different books, and then every once in a while they would have like printing errors and stuff too. So I don't know if it was part of like the printing process back then, or people just not doing their homework. Yeah,
and it makes it very unenjoyable because I don't know. So, but I like the Henshaws. I like that angle. I like seeing the Henshaws. I like that whole. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what bothered me about the art. That last page, like when Jose was coming to talk to Lois, then he catches Lois and Clark kissing in the hallway.
I'm going there now.
That don't look like Jose to me. That looks like almost looks like Perry White or something with like dark, like black hair or something. That looks like an older man. That don't look like Jose to me.
I totally see what you're saying.
Because if you had not told me in the story, in the story earlier, he was coming to see Lois, I wouldn't have known who that was.
I gotcha.
Like, he looks like a heavier, older man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
yes, so yes, kids. It looks like Hank Henshaw has died in front of a computer terminal. So take that for what you will.
Yeah.
Then again, we'll get back to this in the Adventures of Superman 468. So,
but overall, like I like this one so much better.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
So,
and again, I mean, better story overall. But again, also, yeah, it's the origin, as we know now, the origin of Hank Henshaw.
Mm-hmm.
I love they try to break into LexCorp to cure themselves, and the security guard's like, "Hey, hold it right there." And then like one of the other guys calls them, is like, yeah, get away from them. They're like contaminated with radiation, like off the scale.
Yeah,
the guy's like, get the guys in the war suits up here. I don't get paid enough for that.
I'm just like, okay, all right.
And then I love when Superman gets to the scene and sees the Lex guys battling the astronauts, and he's like, I don't know what's going on, but if these guys have like a grudge against Lex, he's like, they could be completely justified in whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. And then it's like, yeah, because like there was like weird radiation and then like solar flares. So Superman was like, oh, well, maybe it's from me throwing the Eradicator in the sun. And then in the end, Terry's like, no. She's like, I don't know what the Eradicator is, but you said you did that yesterday afternoon. She's like, no, we got hit like yesterday.
Yeah, that was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's 1990 here, and I mean, it's going to be like another 2-3 years, but I mean, we've already gotten, spoilers, two of the four Supermen are,
Yeah, and it's pretty intense, like, so.
Yeah, which I kind of like is like, yeah, they like these two were characters who had been around before, and then it's like, oh hey, forgot about these guys. Yeah, this.
But I like it because I kind of have forgotten how soon and where Hank Henshaw is introduced.
Mm.
So having this here, I was like, oh, that's cool, But yeah, I like this one. I like that. Lois and Clark finally got their heads out of their butts and admitted what we all knew, and we're just waiting.
Exactly. And the Eradicator's not getting in their way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, because you said, was that today you were reading the wedding issue, and you were just like,
yes, it was. We are preparing to do on Krypton Report, we are, what do you call it? We're going to be reviewing the wedding issue, and I hadn't really read it.
Oh, really?
I'd looked at it before, and yeah, Clark busting out with he's got a ponytail, and I'm just like, oh dear God.
Yeah. Well, again, it was mullet era, and then spoilers, by the end of that issue, he cuts the hair.
I was like, thank you.
There was so much going on in that issue because, again, it's and he could easily cut his hair because it was right after what is that? Final night where the sun had gone out for a week, so he was powerless at that point.
Yeah, and I'm just I had to try to remind myself what happened at that point because I was like, wait a minute, I know something happened. Trying to remember.
And they were engaged, but then they kind of broke up for a little bit because they kind of wanted to, I think, time it the Lois and Clark marriage on TV.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it all starts here, kids.
Yeah, and I'm glad.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, we'll get there someday, kids, on here.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, I always find it funny. I mean, this Adventures 466. When you think about it, Cyborg Superman. After all these years, I mean, he started out as a Reed Richards, and now all of a sudden, now he's evil Superman.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy how that happens.
Gone. I know it was just a Fantastic Four joke, and then the character ends up being around he's still around.
Yep.
Eventually gets involved with Green Lantern stuff too.
I mean, it is crazy how much he does get just involved in everything.
Oh yeah, well, most of all those Supermen were popular.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, anything else, Tyler?
No, I'm good, sir. I got crazy children that are going to need my assistance with something here.
I figured.
You hear them brewing in the back.
All right. So, before we go anywhere, all right. So, next time, and I believe Justin is going to be back to join us, we're going to cover Adventures of Superman Annual 2 and Legion Annual 1. So, yes, Lobo will be back, and the rest of the Legion. So, and Justin Yao will be back. So,
that's what we're really excited about.
Exactly. All right. So, so send us all your thoughts on those. Send us your thoughts on Hank Henshaw and anything this episode. All right. So, email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And the first time announcing this on this show, new website, CapesLunatics.wordpress.com. You can find pretty much almost all of our all the Capes Lunatics episodes, and I'd started this blog earlier, so there's stuff on there from before Capes Lunatics. So I'm trying to remember, we might have before the bad stuff on there. So
yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That's
that's going back. All right, so yes, check out CapesLunatics.wordpress.com. You can support us buying merch on TeePublic or Spring. And again, Lilith Hellfire demands that you rain random money on us through the Cash App link.
Make it rain.
And of course, you can always subscribe to the Patreon, where we give you exclusive, uncensored content. And if you are a subscriber, you can suggest topics for us to talk about, like Justin has many times. Ray has sent in a request after we shamed him into doing that. So, yes, tell us what to do on the Patreon. Patreon.com/CapesandLunatics.
Vicious and brutal than ever.
All right. Now, Tyler, tell everyone where they can find more of you and talking more Superman with the real life Superman, Mr. James Cole.
You can find us at Krypton Report and basically anywhere on social media with Krypton Report. You'll find us there. And we're always talking Superman. I almost said Solomon because, so.
Yes.
Because my son, my son has the same,
yes,
S and sound. Just like sometimes when he's talking Sonic, and I'll be like, Solomon, whatever, your name. Whatever.
But yeah, sometimes the kids guest star, and of course the greatest guest star, your wife, Jania.
Yep, and we will be releasing in January, because I'm not sure when this will go up, but monthly for the first 6 months of the year, there will be special segment each month called Jania Reads and Reviews, where
nice.
I have chosen some of the most talked about, requested Superman trades or stories,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm having her read them and then getting her thoughts and reviews on them. The first one that will be in January is just good old Action Comics #1. Got to start at the beginning and go from there.
You know what you got to do this summer, right? Get her to read some crypto appearances.
Well, I will. Like, we got All-Star,
Nice.
Birthright, All Seasons, Secret Origins are all coming up.
Ooh, I like that. I'll just shame my wife into reading some stuff. All right. All right. So yes, kids, check out the Krypton Report. And of course, as like I said, especially for Mr. James Cole himself, who can also leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Yeah, he just
or lift them over his head.
He just looks at the building and tells it to drop. It falls.
Bears worry about James Cole attacks.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
She told me, what if all this stuff that we say about James is actually true, and we're actually just psychic and we know these things about him? Completely changed my perspective on life.
I think it's in the collective unconscious of humanity, except they got it wrong and just put Chuck Norris there instead of James Cole.
Yeah, exactly. So we will see.
That's right. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Again, come back next time. Superman Annual 2, Legion Annual 1, Justin the Owl returns. And again, if you need more Superman fix, go check out the Krypton Report.
Yep. Come join us. We have cookies.
The Patrick family and the ninth wonder of the world, Mr. James Cole.
He will be here guarding us.
He's bulletproof. All right, kids. Come back next time. And remember to join us for truth, justice, and the mullet way. Don't fall to pieces like our good friend Hank.